Well, it's the year of the rat, but it feels like it's the year of the pig, considering how much the YouTube community's talked about Shane Dawson so far. So yesterday I woke up to see that Shane Dawson's fiance, Ryland Adams, posted a video with his stance and all of this chaos. So yes, Ryland has finally broken his silence, in reference to the fact that he is the future husband of one of the most hated people on the internet right now.
Hello. I wanted to jump on before I started posting videos again to acknowledge what's been going on with Shane and Shane's past. And I didn't initially jump in and insert myself because I didn't want to add to the intense negativity that was circulating about all of these old clips. And I wanted to process and think for myself. And I know I didn't do that in the beauty community drama, but I feel that's because I was kind of there for the whole experience, whereas with Shane's past, I've been with Shane for 4 years, and a lot of these clips date 7, 8 to 10 years ago.
So after listening to this clip, I feel like Ryland made a decent point. In my previous video about this topic, I discussed how Ryland was under heat for going off on Twitter because as a reaction around the whole Tati Westbrook breaking my silence drama, many people were criticizing Ryland being so quick to give his response to that video, but being completely silent about everything else. You know, because all the other stuff being put out there around Shane was way more serious than Tati's video. However, as you heard, Ryland wanted to take some time to process and figure out exactly how he wanted to address all of this. You know, considering that he was not there, nor did he even know Shane during that time. He explained he was there during all the beauty drama, so therefore, I'm assuming he felt like he had enough footing in the whole situation to put Tati on blast. You know, because he witnessed most of it firsthand. I'm not defending him, but when he explains it like this, I definitely understand where he's coming from now. Also, he lashed out at Tati the same day or the same couple of days that everyone and their grandmother was taking a moral grandstand against Shane Dawson.
I understand that Shane's made highly insensitive and offensive jokes, and I know that while they were far in his past, it's hard to separate that person from who he is today, especially when you're seeing them in real time and your feelings are being hurt right now. And I can never take that away from you, and I would never say you have to accept his apology or even ask that you do. At some point, I hope we can champion change and growth over canceling someone altogether or going for the absolute worst on the internet. And I say this because I know that Shane has had to address his past more than most people probably in the world, because every few years it comes back up to ruin him, to cancel him, and it's forced him to look into what he did, its impact, how it made people feel, and really truly grow from that.
On one hand, I kind of agree with his statement where we should stop embracing cancel culture to this extent and rather encourage learning lessons and growth. However, I think the whole issue, even though Shane's past keeps on being dug up and dug up again, the main problem here is, like, only a couple weeks ago, he thought that a 19-year-old James Charles deserved the humble pie that was coming for him. Like, you guys can't be doing both. Like, you can't say, oh, Shane at the time was so young and he was learning and it was just a learning experience, and then slam James Charles for also being young and dumb. Like, you'd think after Shane Dawson, you know, has experienced a similar thing countless amounts of times. I mean, how many times has Shane Dawson's past been dug up before James Charles was like canceled with the whole Dramageddon? At least 3 or 4 times. So Shane actually has experience with this, so I'm surprised that he didn't even reach out to James during all of this, and how he basically was like, you know what? Yes, this 19-year-old. He deserves this humble pie. That's where you guys lose me. The whole beauty community is so, the narrative of the beauty community is so cherry-picked. Just him describing Tati's bi-sister video as her popping off, it's confusing. It doesn't make sense. How can you stand for that video but be like, no wait guys, I was young and dumb. Don't put me on blast. It doesn't make sense. But speaking of popping the off, do you know who really popped the off? John Cozart in the 2017 Streamies, where he called out Shane Dawson on stage, and it became really awkward really quickly.
It was kind of funny because, like, he was making jokes about other creators as well, and then the camera would pan to whatever creator he was talking about, and it would be them giggling like, oh my god, it's so true, I do that. And then when he made the joke about Shane, it was just
Shane's eyes was like,
it was just him like and then I think it's like Ryland, I'm pretty sure it's Ryland, looks at him like
Shane Dawson with the Vietnam flashbacks to the days he used blackface in his content.
Shane Dawson is here, up for Creator of the Year, spent half his career in blackface. Huh? Nobody remembers Shanae in this room? Okay. And no, Joey Graceffa, blackface is not the documentary about SeaWorld.
What is YouTube Rewind 2020 gonna be like? Jake Paul getting raided.
YouTube 2019 was already trash. Like, it wasn't even a YouTube Rewind. It was just kind of like a, here's some stats. Social Blade could have made the YouTube Rewind that was 2019. 2020 Rewind is gonna be, all right, we're all going insane inside of our apartments. Meanwhile, the FBI actually raided Jake Paul for real this time. Tati Westbrook decided to break her silence about the gummies. And Jeffree Star is Jeffree Star. But back to Ryland's video.
I know a lot of people in present day have an issue with some of the people that he chose to give a platform. And to that, I would say that everyone has something in their past they're not proud of. But I don't think that that takes away from the incredible content that he has put out over the years.
Well, in a now deleted Twitter statement, Shane still said that he believed James Charles deserved to be humbled. And honestly, I believe it, sure. However, I mean, most of those influencers, definitely when you get above the 10 million subscriber range, hey, they might need a lesson or two in humbling themselves. What I'm trying to say here is just because James Charles might have had an ego the size of his crib doesn't mean he's the only one. And of course, that doesn't mean what happened to him is right, because no, he was definitely wronged. It just doesn't make sense, because if Shane actually thought that James Charles needed to be humbled, why didn't he have the same approach to Jake Paul? He made Jake Paul somehow seem likable, but he couldn't do that for his friend James Charles? It's not like James Charles wouldn't have brought him tens of millions of views per episode. This just doesn't make sense to me at all. Literally, he made Jake Paul come across as, well, I'm just young and dumb. Yeah, you see how this young and dumb act played out? Raided by the FBI? Sorry, it's just so crazy to me they were trying to spin this, oh, Jake Paul is just young and dumb. Meanwhile, James Charles is 2 years younger than Jake Paul, and he wouldn't spin that narrative for James Charles? James Charles was literally exposed for the reason of being young and dumb. And don't get me wrong, the reasons James Charles was getting canceled was due to the fact that the allegations seemed way more serious than what they actually were. It was a little bit too much nitpicking small, tiny details and taking them out of context. Oh, and another example to this whole thing. If Shane really wanted to be running around humbling creators, why was he a shoulder for Tana to cry on when Tana literally just scammed a bunch of her fans during the whole TanaCon thing? Like, if he had it in him to console and reassure Tana, why wouldn't he have it in him to console and reassure James Charles? I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me. However, most of the hard evidence against James Charles has since been debunked. So that simply just kind of leaves James Charles as guilty of inappropriate behavior. That's about it. Now let's just compare that to Tana real quick one more time. Just Tana Khan scammed her fans and had her fan base baking out in the Southern California sun for hours. I would also deem that to be inappropriate behavior and absolutely unacceptable. However, one of them got a multi-part documentary giving you a chance to see everything from their side, and the other one, they got a humble pie. Thank you, Shane Dawson. I don't know, man. I just find this all hypocritical. Anyway, that was actually it for Ryland's statement. However, Morgan Adams, Ryland's sister, also made a video on this whole situation. Morgan is also very close to Shane, and apparently the three of them have often hung out together as best friends. I'm pretty sure there was also a point where she lived in Shane's office as well, and I'm pretty sure Shane convinced her to actually make a YouTube channel in the first place. So needless to say, the fans have been desperate to hear what they think of all this.
So say that you're watching your favorite person online or your favorite Instagram person, whatever. So these people are building a house and they built a little window and they're like, okay, you can look into the window. When you watch someone online, you're looking into the window, but if you know someone in real life, you have the keys to the door and you can look around the entire house and like get a bigger picture about the old videos of Shane and the whole drama thing. I don't really have much to say. I just wanted to say, obviously, that I don't like them. I don't agree with them. It makes me uncomfortable to watch them because when I watch them, I'm like, who is that? I don't feel like that's a person that I know. It's a difficult situation because I'm not coming at this from, you know, the viewpoint and the perspective of somebody who has watched Shane on the internet for years. This is somebody that I hang out with in my real life. This is somebody that I consider to be a friend, a mentor, a family member. And I just wanted to say that I'm not defending anything that has been said in the past, anything that has been done in the past, but I've known Shane for 3, maybe 4 years now. The Shane that I hang out with and that I have lived with has always just been gracious and kind and understanding. He's always been willing to help everyone. The person that I see from day to day in a non-YouTube, non-filming, not trying to be entertaining, that Shane isn't even in the same stratosphere as the Shane that, you know, you get to see in these older clips. So that's all I have to say.
So I feel like she explained that well in a creative way, where you're watching your favorite YouTuber through a window. It's hard to get a full understanding of what's actually happening. Meanwhile, the people that know the creator in real life can walk inside the house and see what's going on, get a better feel for the entire situation. But as you heard, she kind of said the same thing that Ryland did. The Shane that was in the videos many years ago is not the Shane that they personally know and love today. And both of them claim they don't even recognize the person in these old videos. And both of them also said that watching these videos make them feel insanely uncomfortable. So I think we're now up to date with the entire Shane Dawson situation. Whoa! It's a whole lot. And it's funny how things works, because this is now no longer the biggest situation that's going on, because a certain someone was just raided by the FBI. So now all the attention shifted over here instead of over here. The internet just continues to get crazier and crazier, and we're just kind of like sitting here strapped into this like a roller coaster, but it's real life. So that's pretty interesting. So hey, if you enjoyed the video, please drop a like on it. If you're new here, I welcome you to my channel. It'll be awesome if you subscribe. We can all sit in this roller coaster together. There's more than enough space for everyone. So let's just enjoy this ride of all the YouTube drama in the future. No, oh my God. I just realized YouTube 2020 is just gonna be over Zoom. They're just gonna have a Zoom call, and all of the creators in the YouTube Rewind are gonna slowly, one by one, join the Zoom call. That's how it's gonna play out. If I call this, I am Jesus reincarnated. Peace.
Got me like I'm barely sober. Slip right past like I barely know ya. Whip so fast like I whip Daytona. Got a bitch so bad and she gripped my shoulder. Life flips so fast like a roller coaster. Shit not sweet like a cherry soda. Kid bone switch like a new persona. Fucked up, wouldn't do shit over. Move past looking at the upside. Late night and she call me